how to be a truly valuable woman. Ladies and gentlemen, sisters and daughters, let me start with a simple truth. You were never meant to make yourself smaller to fit into someone else's world. You were born to rise, to take space, to be powerful. Being a valuable woman has nothing to do with being liked by everyone. It's not about your body shape, the softness of your voice, or the way you move. No, being valuable is about how boldly and bravely you show up for yourself and for others. A valuable woman understands that her value is not based on whether someone approves of her or not. She doesn't wait for the mirror to tell her she is beautiful. She doesn't wait for others to recognize her. She walks in and her presence leaves an imprint. The ground remembers her steps. Let me speak honestly. Life won't always applaud you. There will be places where people try to quiet your voice. Some will misunderstand your kindness, thinking it means weakness. Others will see your confidence and call it pride. Let them think what they want. Because a valuable woman doesn't need to be accepted by everyone. She needs to be true to herself. If you want to be valuable, then learn to stand tall even when you're standing alone. Feed your mind with good books. Learn new things. Say no when your heart tells you it's the right thing to do. Say yes only when it truly means something. Passion isn't about being perfect, it's about living with purpose. And purpose isn't only what you do with your hands, it's who you become deep within your soul. Be someone who uplifts other women. Be someone who speaks truth with kindness and listens with care. Be someone who brings peace, not just to others, but also to her own heart. And sweet girl, don't mix up noise with value. The loudest one in the room isn't always the most powerful. Sometimes the strongest woman is the one who knows that her silence holds power. Remember this, when you leave your house, you are not just something to be looked at. You are a statement, a declaration. Declare yourself brave. Declare yourself worthy. Declare yourself whole, whether or not anyone else agrees with you. The world will eventually have to rise to meet her, the woman who knows her worth. A woman who sees her value doesn't need someone else to tell her she's enough. She doesn't live for claps or praise. She doesn't stand in front of the mirror hoping someone tells her she's valuable. Her worth isn't based on opinions. It was written deep in her being the moment she was born. And when she finally understands that, everything starts to change. Because when a woman learns how to value herself, she becomes powerful. Not in a loud or harsh way, but in a steady, quiet, certain way. She becomes unshakable. The kind of strength that doesn't need to shout, but still gets noticed. The kind of self-belief that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone, yet earns respect wherever she goes. Too many women are taught from childhood to look outside themselves for value. To wait for someone else to say they're good enough, to be noticed, to be told they're okay, be nice, be quiet, be perfect. And even when they do everything right, someone still says it's not enough. Not smart enough, not thin enough, not soft enough, not ambitious enough, or maybe too ambitious. That's a trap. If you live your life trying to please everyone, you will always feel tired. You'll never feel like you've arrived. But the valuable woman lives differently. She writes her own story. She wakes up each day and doesn't ask the world to define her. Knowing who you are is not pride, it's freedom. Freedom to enter a room without shrinking. Freedom to sit at the table without apologizing for being there. Freedom to wear what makes you happy, speak your truth, and live a life that feels right in your heart, even if no one else sees it. Real self-worth isn't loud. It doesn't always look like confidence on the outside. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's in how you set boundaries, in how you protect your peace, in how you rest without guilt, in how you look at yourself in the mirror, not with shame, but with understanding. You know what it took to become who you are. You remember the storms you survived, the nights you cried and still got up in the morning, the moments you kept loving yourself when it would be easier to give up. And when life tries to shake that, because it will, you don't fall apart. Not because you are hard like stone, but because you have built strength from within. You don't chase applause, so silence doesn't bother you. You don't need approval, so rejection doesn't break you. You've seen yourself in the dark and still chose to believe you are worthy. That is what true value looks like. Real worth isn't about being flawless, it's about being fully present. Being present with your imperfections, your gifts, your story, and still choosing to love yourself. A valuable woman doesn't wait to be perfect before she loves herself. She accepts herself while she grows. That's why she glows. That's why others feel something special when she enters the room. She doesn't need to be seen because she already sees herself clearly. And when a woman sees herself through the eyes of love and truth, she becomes unstoppable. She becomes a mirror for others. When she owns her value, she gives quiet permission to other women to own theirs too. This world doesn't need more women who try to appear perfect. It needs more women who are grounded, who know their value and don't have to prove anything to anyone. Because at the end of it all, beauty fades, attention fades, achievements fade, but your honesty, your kindness, your courage, those are eternal. That is the kind of value that never dies. It lives on in people's hearts long after you leave the room. So don't wait. Don't wait for someone to tell you that you matter. Don't wait for the award, the position, the praise, or the partner. You matter now. Tell yourself now. Accept it now. Walk in it now. Your worth was never something to fight for. It was always yours from the beginning. She enters a room and doesn't look around to see if she fits in. She doesn't wonder if she's too much or not enough. She doesn't make herself smaller so others can handle her better. She has learned the beauty of just being herself. Not who the world expects her to be, but who she really is. And that, my friends, is what makes a woman powerful. A woman who embraces her real self. A woman who doesn't hide her truth. A woman who no longer apologizes for being who she is. Not because she thinks she's above others, but because she's tired of pretending. Because she knows fake love, fake smiles, fake confidence, they all cost too much. And they never last. So she chooses honesty, she chooses presence. She chooses to be real, even when it's hard. Even when it means walking away from people or places that once felt safe. Let's be real. Being authentic isn't always easy. People won't always like it. You might be called difficult, too emotional, too strong, too independent, too much. People may misunderstand you. They might question you. They might tell you directly or indirectly that you should change to be accepted more easily, that you should be quieter, softer, smaller. But the valuable woman knows better. She doesn't live to fit in. She lives to be true. A woman understands that comfort isn't her main purpose, it's integrity. And that means saying no when every part of her wants to say no. That means choosing peace instead of popularity. That means knowing the right people will never ask her to make herself smaller. There's a deep kind of power in a woman who can say no without feeling bad, who can let others down to stay honest with herself, who can sit in the middle of noise and still hear her own voice. She doesn't turn her back on her truth just to avoid conflict. She knows that peace that costs her truth is just a quiet battle inside, and she's tired of fighting herself. She doesn't feel the need to explain herself every time she makes a different choice. She's done chasing approval. Maybe there was a time when she did. A time when she bent over backward, trying to become who others wanted her to be. A time when she dressed, smiled, and spoke in ways she thought would help her fit in. But she's grown past that. And now her journey back to her real self has become her silent revolution. When a woman decides to stop performing and start truly living, she becomes magnetic. People might not always understand her, but they sense something in her. There's a rare kind of calm in her presence, a steady energy, because she's no longer waiting for others to define her. She's already claimed herself. She doesn't fear being alone like she once did. In fact, she's found wisdom in it. Walking alone has shown her things that being in crowds never could. She's come to see that loneliness and solitude are not the same. Loneliness is missing others, while solitude is reconnecting with yourself. And when you stop avoiding yourself, you start to realize how much strength has been with you all along. Her realness isn't loud or dramatic. She doesn't show it off like a medal. It's quieter than that. It shows in her limits, in her laugh. Deep and without apology. It's in the way she speaks honestly and means what she says. It's in how she owns her imperfections and doesn't cover up her scars. She knows perfection is a trap, and she's done playing that game. She isn't afraid to cry in front of others or admit when she's wrong. That's not weakness, it's real power. A power that doesn't come from pretending, but from being true. She isn't trying to be seen as strong if that means hiding her softness. She knows she can be both. She can be strong and gentle, open and wise, generous and careful. She refuses to be put in a box. She's a full, complex woman. And she's no longer trying to tone herself down just to make other people feel okay. She doesn't follow what's popular. She follows what's true, her truth. And that truth doesn't always fit into other people's expectations. Sometimes it means saying yes to a dream no one else gets. Sometimes it means leaving a relationship that looks perfect to everyone else. Sometimes it means staying quiet when the world wants a response and speaking up when staying quiet would be easier. But no matter what, she stays close to what's real. She knows that living truthfully means people might judge her. It means being seen completely, not just the pretty parts. But she also knows that every time she stands in her truth, she gives other women permission to do the same. Every time she chooses being real over pretending, she opens a path for someone else. And that ripple, that's legacy. So she lives as she is. She's not waiting to be picked, not waiting to be fixed, not waiting to be more or less. She is enough right here, right now, exactly as she is. And that, more than anything else, makes her valuable. She's done chasing perfection. That old race where nothing ever feels good enough, where each win feels fragile and every mistake feels huge, that race wore her out. Because perfection keeps moving. The more you chase it, the further away it gets. The more you try to hold on to it, the heavier it becomes. One day, she looked at herself in the mirror and barely knew who she was. Not because she had failed, but because she had spent too long pretending, trying to live a life that looked perfect from the outside, but felt empty inside. So she made a different choice. She chose purpose. She discovered that real worth isn't in perfect moments. It's in meaningful ones. The moments where she shows up messy but honest, tired but willing, nervous but brave. She no longer wants to be the best at everything. She just wants to be real, helpful, and present. She wants her life to matter, not because it looks great on a resume or shines on social media, but because it made a difference, even if it touched just one person. Purpose isn't loud. It doesn't always get noticed. It doesn't always come with awards or attention. Sometimes purpose looks like being there for a friend who's struggling. It's in the way you listen, the way you hold space for someone, the way you bring calm when everything feels like chaos. Purpose is quiet work, sacred work, often invisible. but it builds a life that's full. She's learned that to live with purpose, she has to ask different questions. Not, do I look good or will they like me? But does this match who I truly am? And will this bring me closer to what really matters? She doesn't look for praise anymore. She looks for alignment. She doesn't chase control. She looks for clarity, because clarity helps her say no with kindness and yes with confidence. The woman who lives with purpose wakes up differently. She still feels fear, but it doesn't control her. She still messes up, but she's not defined by it. She may fall short, but she learns something new each time she rises. She doesn't measure herself by perfection anymore. She measures herself by growth, progress, truth, and impact. And her impact isn't always found in big, flashy moments. It's in the steady love she shares, the way she encourages others, not for attention, but because she remembers what it felt like to be alone. She was the woman who needed a kind word. She was the one overlooked, the one people doubted, the one others thought couldn't do it. And now that she's found her power, she doesn't keep it to herself. She lifts others up. She makes room for them. Because she understands real success isn't rising alone, it's bringing others with you. She's dedicated to growth, not image. That means she's open to admitting when she's wrong, learning new things, and letting go of old patterns. She doesn't hide behind a fake smile or perfect image anymore. She knows pretending to have it all together isn't strength. True strength lives in humility, in asking for help when needed, in listening more and talking less, in staying open-hearted even after life tried to close her off. And now she brings peace not just to others, but to herself. That's the biggest difference. She's no longer at war inside. She doesn't wake up each day with a weight on her chest trying to chase a version of life that never really belonged to her. She's breathing easier now, living freer, loving deeper. And all because she chose to stop pretending and start being who she truly is. She has learned that life is not about meeting other people's expectations, but about honoring her own soul's call. Every day she chooses to listen to her inner voice, even when it's quiet or scared. She knows that following her truth will sometimes be lonely, but loneliness is better than living a lie. She's discovered that true freedom comes when she stops apologizing for who she is and starts embracing it fully. She no longer fears mistakes because she understands that they are part of the path, not the end of it. Each mistake teaches her something new about herself and the world around her. She has grown to trust her journey, even when the road is rough and uncertain. She has faith that everything she experiences is shaping her into the woman she is meant to be. She no longer feels the need to rush through life, trying to fix everything all at once. She has learned patience, the kind that is calm, steady, and sure. Patience with herself, with others, and with the timing of her own growth. She knows that some things take time to bloom, and she is willing to wait for what is truly meant for her. Her heart is open, but guarded. She gives love freely, but does not lose herself in the process. She understands that boundaries are acts of self-love, not walls to keep people out. She protects her energy and her peace, knowing that she cannot pour from an empty cup. She has learned to say no without guilt and yes with intention. Her past no longer defines her. She has made peace with the parts of her story that once caused pain and shame. Instead of hiding her scars, she wears them like badges of honor. Each scar tells a story of survival, strength, and growth. She knows that her wounds do not make her weak. They make her human and beautiful. She is not afraid to stand alone because she knows that her worth does not depend on others' approval. She has built a strong foundation within herself, one that no one can shake. This foundation is made of self-respect, courage, and kindness, supports her dreams, and holds her steady through life's storms. She chooses joy even when life is hard. She finds beauty in small moments. A warm cup of tea, a kind smile, a quiet sunset. She knows that happiness is not a distant goal, but a choice she makes every day. She practices gratitude even for the challenges because they have taught her resilience and hope. She speaks her truth with love and clarity. She no longer hides her opinions or feelings to please others. She knows that her voice matters and that it can inspire change, both in herself and in those around her. She listens deeply to others, but she never loses sight of her own truth. She embraces change with an open heart. She knows that growth often means letting go of what no longer serves her. She does not fear endings because she understands they make way for new beginnings. She welcomes transformation as a natural and beautiful part of life. She lives with intention, making choices that align with her values and dreams. She does not waste time on things that drain her or distract her from what matters. She prioritizes her well-being and nurtures her mind, body, and spirit. She knows that taking care of herself is the best gift she can give to the world. She stands as a light for others, not by trying to fix them, but by being a living example of strength, grace, and authenticity. She supports other women in their journeys, knowing that when one rises, we all rise. She builds communities based on respect, honesty, and compassion. She is a warrior of peace, choosing love over fear, kindness over judgment, and hope over despair. She knows that the world needs more women like her. Women who are real, brave, and compassionate. Women who refuse to settle for anything less than a full, authentic life. She is still becoming. Every day is a new chance to learn, grow, and deepen her understanding of herself and others. She celebrates her progress and forgives her setbacks. She moves forward with a heart full of courage and a spirit full of grace. This is the woman she is becoming, the woman she always was meant to be. Strong, gentle, wise, and she walks her path with purpose and peace, shining her light for all to see. And in that light, she finds her true home within herself. Meant for her, but now she moves with purpose. She talks slower, listens more carefully, walks more gently, but with more intention than ever before. She doesn't rush anymore to keep up with everyone around her. She's creating a life that feels right to her, even if no one else understands it. She keeps herself surrounded by things that bring peace to her spirit. People who speak kindness, not just noise. Work that inspires her, not work that leaves her empty. Places that feel secure, not just polished on the outside. Because when you stop trying so hard to be perfect, you start choosing differently. You begin to ask, does this feel right to me? And that small question, just that one, can truly change your life. Now, when failure shows up, she doesn't fall apart. She doesn't drown in shame. She doesn't beat herself up or question her worth. She gets it now. Failure is simply a part of the journey. No path filled with purpose is without a few bumps in the road. But she's not scared to trip anymore, because every time she does, she rises. Stronger, wiser, more determined, with more courage than before. And when someone asks her what success means to her now, she doesn't mention numbers or fancy titles or perfect images. She talks about peace, about having meaning, about waking up each morning with a sense of direction that's her own, not borrowed from someone else's opinions. She speaks about laughing freely without guilt, resting without feeling bad, loving without being scared, creating without asking for approval, and living without needing to say sorry all the time. She now knows the most powerful kind of woman isn't the one who does everything right. She's the one who lives with intention. Not to impress anyone, not to perform, not to prove something, but to live a life that truly matters, deeply and honestly. And that, she knows, is more than enough. She doesn't chase attention. She doesn't feel the need to explain herself too much or try too hard to be noticed. Because she knows something deeper, something many people miss in the rush to be seen. Real power doesn't yell. It walks in quietly. It fills the space calmly. It lifts its head not with pride, but from all the years she kept standing tall, even when life tried to make her feel small. A truly valuable woman gains respect not by asking for it, but because she lives in a way that naturally earns it through her actions, her words, her choices. The way she walks, the way she listens, the way she gives space to others and to herself. All of that speaks before she even says a word. Her silence has meaning. Her calmness carries weight. She doesn't need loudness to be strong. Her presence speaks for her. She has learned the difference between attention and true influence. Anyone can grab attention. It just takes noise, drama, or controversy. But influence is something different. It grows from roots. It is built slowly through being consistent, truthful, and thoughtful. It moves others not by force, but by presence. This kind of woman has learned how to protect her energy. She doesn't react to everything. She picks her moments, when to talk and when to remain quiet. Not out of fear, but because she's wise. She realizes not every fight is worth her time. Not every insult deserves an answer. Not every call into drama needs to be answered. Her peace matters more than winning a pointless argument. But make no mistake, when she does speak, people pay attention. Not because she talks a lot, but because her words are full of thought, full of meaning, full of truth. She has no interest in fake conversations or empty praise. Her words reflect her mind and her soul. They are clear, thoughtful, and honest. And even when she tells the truth, it never comes from a place of cruelty, it comes from care. She knows how to speak truth without causing unnecessary pain. She doesn't need a fancy job title to feel valuable. She doesn't need a crown to feel powerful. She doesn't need applause to feel confident. Her self-worth doesn't rise or fall based on what people think of her. It isn't built on compliments. It's built on her character, on the nights she stood up for herself when no one else did, on the time she kept her dignity when anger would have been easier, on her choice to keep choosing herself, not once, but over and over again. She may not be the loudest in the room, but she's often the one people turn to for clear thinking. She might not be the center of every event, but her presence makes the room feel steady. When she enters, you feel the difference. There's something steady about her. She doesn't chase after respect. She is respect. But that doesn't mean she's always serious. In fact, there's a softness in her that puts people at ease, a gentleness, a calm presence. Because real strength doesn't come from building up walls. It comes from knowing you don't need to. She doesn't pretend. She doesn't perform. She just is. And in a world full of noise and pretending, her realness is magnetic. She knows the difference between being powerful and being scary. Fear comes from weakness. It tries to control others. But real power, she connects with them. She doesn't spread gossip. She protects others. She doesn't control people. She encourages them. And she knows that the most powerful kind of woman is not the one shouting to be seen. It's the one walking in her purpose, speaking with meaning, and leaving others better than before. Her standards are high, but they're not proud. She's not hard to deal with. She's wise, not because she thinks she's better than others, but because she knows what it took to become the woman she is now. She doesn't let just anyone have access to her peace, her thoughts, or her heart. Because not everyone is supposed to be at her table. Not everyone deserves her energy. And that clear, quiet line she draws, that's where her self-respect starts. She's not scared of being misunderstood. She's not scared of being quiet. She doesn't need to prove herself by being loud, because she's seen what happens when people confuse noise for power, and she's chosen something better. She doesn't interrupt, she watches. She doesn't argue just to win, she talks to understand. In a world that rewards shouting, her calm confidence is revolutionary. People might not always remember every word she says, but they will remember how she made them feel. Safe, heard, seen. That is what real value looks like. Not how many people notice you, but how many people are changed by your presence. So she carries herself not with pride, but with confidence. Not with drama, but with real depth. Not with shouting, but with steady fire. A fire that doesn't burn others or burn out, but keeps glowing. Quiet, strong, and undeniable. To every woman hearing this, understand this truth. Your worth was never about being perfect, loud, or always performing. It was always about your purpose, your presence, your truth. You never had to become someone else to be enough. You never needed to do it all, have it all, or prove it all. You only needed to be real, be thoughtful, be honest, be whole. Stand proud in who you are. Walk with boldness toward what lights up your soul. Let your words carry wisdom, not just sound. Let your choices reflect your deepest values. And most of all, remember, the most powerful women are not the ones chasing approval. They are the ones building lives full of meaning. They are the ones lighting up the world around them and reminding everyone that real power, true, lasting power, starts from within. You are not here to fit in. You are here to rise. Rise with grace, rise with purpose, rise in truth, and as you rise, you give others the courage to do the same. Be the kind of woman who doesn't just shine. Be the kind of woman who lights up the entire room. Be the woman who moves with quiet confidence, who lifts others as she climbs, who knows that her journey is not a competition but a calling. She builds bridges, not walls. She creates spaces where others feel safe to grow, to dream, to be themselves. She is patient with her own progress and generous with others' struggles. She understands that true strength is vulnerability embraced, not toughness worn like armor. She allows herself to rest, to recharge, and in that rest, she finds even greater power. She celebrates the success of other women, knowing that their light does not dim hers. Instead, it adds to the brilliance of the collective, the unstoppable force of women united by purpose and heart. She does not apologize for her ambitions or her desires. She claims her space unapologetically, carving out her path with grace and determination. Her voice is steady and clear, not because she must be heard above others, but because what she says matters. When she stumbles, she rises with compassion for herself. When she faces doubt, she leans into faith in her own worth. When the world tries to shake her, she stands firmer, rooted in the knowledge that her value is inherent, unshakable, eternal.